Hi YouTube! Okay, so today what I'd like to do is show you how to make your own god and goddess statues with products that you can buy from like Walmart or Michael's or a craft store near you. And here's some that I've made this week. Actually, I finished this one last night and I did these two the night before, so it's been the past 2 or 3 nights where I've been making these, and it's been a lot of fun, and I'm really happy and content and even connected to the finished product. You know, I'm very satisfied with them. So what I'll do first of all is, I'll scoot these back, and first I'll go over what I tried when I first came back to Wicca and I wanted some god and goddess statues and some products to use on my altar that were clay. I wanted the terracotta or the, the real heavy kind of clay god and goddesses, but they were just too expensive with shipping for me at the time. I just couldn't seem to find in my budget to spend that on one item shipping to you. So I went ahead and purchased some terracotta clay and thought, what I could do is we get the clay here and, get the clay at home, make myself some statues and some products that I want, and then find a place in my area that does jewelry making or pottery classes that has a kiln, a big fiery furnace to run the clay through, that maybe will let me bring my own products in, and they would charge me per piece or per square on their tray, because that's what, when I was a kid, that's what we used to do where I lived. And they would charge me for that, and I could just bring in my own and use their kiln. And I did find some place that did that, so I went ahead and purchased some clay and started making my own things, but I never made it down to the kiln. It was a little bit of a ways from my house, and I just, their prices were fine. It's just that I never made it there. So this has been years that I've had this clay around, and it's never been fired in a kiln, which means that if I were to put this in water, or if it was exposed to moisture or water in any way, it would just turn into a big puddle of clay. But anyway, if you wanted to do something like that, making your own, you can probably find a pottery place near you that does pottery lessons that may let you bring your own smaller pieces in. They'll tell you like how much they'll charge per piece, per size, or like, a square area on their cookie sheet or whatever it is that they put into their kiln. They'll let you rent out a little area, okay? So that's something you can think about doing for yourself as well. It's just more of an extended process. It takes a little more time, and if you can find somebody in your area you can trust to do that with. Anyway, so here's a goddess that I made because I saw these online, and so I copied it the best that I could with the tools that I had to make similar images. And so there would be one goddess statue. My god statue has completely lost his head and his arms. Like I said, because it's not been fired, so it's still fragile clay. But you can see there's my god statue. I think he would have turned out really nicely. These would have been great to have. They would have been awesome, but it didn't work out that way, so that's fine. I was still able to practice my crafting skills, and that was cool. I did these little goddesses because I saw online somebody that was selling them and saying they were selling them, and you could finished terracotta product you can anoint with oil, or you can let them smolder next to an incense, and they pick up the smoldering incense scent as well. So you can use them for consecration and ritual use. So I thought that would be cool. So I made myself a few of those. This one has lost her head for the time being, but there we go. And I made myself an incense holder for cone incense, but if you use a clip on the top, you can put a short stick inside. But there we go. I think I'm overexposed by light, but here you go. It has the triquetra on top of it. And how I made this in the little dish where you can put your cone on the inside. And it fits together like that. which I thought that looked really rustic and really awesome. I really, really liked it. How I made it was I took something that was in the shape of like one of these candle jars back here that was in a tube shape. And then I took and rolled out my clay to a certain level of thickness or thinness. You see, like 1/4 of an inch or a little bit smaller. And then cut out a rectangle, a long rectangle the same length of the circumference of the jar. And then I rolled it around, okay? And you can see right here, this little area right there where that line is, that's where I used water to seal it together. Then I took and made a circle, a cutout circle, and put it on top, and went ahead and sealed it around the rim. And then I made the holes for the incense, and then the moons, so I can come out the moons as well. And there we go. And I took it off when it was before it dried all the way, because this product will shrink. And if you're drying it on the product that you've shaped it on, it will shrink and destroy the finished look. So you'll want to find a way to remove it with delicacy before that. So anyway, those are some things that I did before. I just didn't get it to the final stage. That's why I went for the Walmart shopping last night, or the other night, and I bought the Sculpey 3 and the Sculpey Bake Shop. Okay, 2 different kinds of Sculpey. Sculpey has lots of different types of clay. Bake Shop is one. Sculpey 3 is a type of clay that they have. They also have something called Primoy, Souffle, Super Sculpey, and a few other ones. So, you know, you'll want to like go to the sculpey.com site and see which ones would be best for you. This one you can also use in jewelry making. See? So I thought that would be good to have. And I thought I would try them both out, the Bake Shop and the Sculpey 3, and see which one I like the best. Honestly, you can't tell the difference in the finished product with making the statues with what I wanted. They're exactly the same hardness and everything. So it's a similar result, just so you know. Now here's the statues that I made. Again, I think I got too much light. I made a goddess statue. And she has a little, whoops, I keep doing that, sorry about that. I don't know if you can see that. There it is. She has a little triquetra in the top of her hair. Right there that I made for her. And she's got roses for Maiden, Mother, and Crone. I put these in, you know, I just put them around like in a circular position, but I guess what I should have done, no, I guess that's fine. It depends on how you look at it. White for full moon or white for maiden. Maiden would have been over here, but whatever. It's still got the 3 on there, so that's cool. And then one thing I've done is I've put in a little offering of a apple stem that I thought I could decorate with some embroidery thread and make her a beautiful little wand. Put that in there. But here's how I did it, okay? Here's how I made them. The Sculpey clay is firm. Coming out of the package, it's extremely, extremely firm. See? It's really firm. So you have to make it malleable by warming it in your hands, and that's just playing with it until it's like silly putty, which I'm sure anybody who's played with clay, any of you guys will know. Then, here's a piece that, you know, I have. So once you've played with it for a little bit, it'll be soft like this one. See? Now I've colored this one. This was a white one, and I took and I colored it with these mica powders. Okay? And you can use any color you want to, and put mica powders are the same thing that go in your eyeshadows. So if you have an eyeshadow that isn't an oily one, but that's maybe kind of sparkly, try that. That will actually work as far as coloring too. Okay, so that's what I used to color it. To make her body piece, well, I started off with a circle, like a sphere, and then I sat it down. Let me skip them back. And then I went ahead with my pinkies towards the middle of the circle and went like that. I kept doing that until I got that hourglass shape. See? Just like that. You know, and then you shape it however you want. If you want it to be flatter in the front, whatever you need to do. Now, what I did is I took and I made her breasts with separate little balls. Now, here's the mistake I made in doing that. I blended it just fine on the top, but I didn't blend it very well underneath. Can you see? So I wished I would have looked under there a little bit easier, so I always make sure I look from every angle. Which I corrected that on my Venus one over there. But I wished I would have made it better for her. But anyway, it's still beautiful this way. So anyway, so there's her little body shape. Okay. And from here, you can take and just make a brush shape. Out of the larger kit that I showed you, you get these two little tools. So, you know, from one of these tips, you can take and make, you know, her brush shape. Just by like making a brush shape and playing with it until you get it the way you want to, till you're happy with how it looks. Okay. And then you make her arms just like I mean, any way that you normally would with clay. You would take and just roll it out like this until it's the width that you want. That's for arms. For the legs, I just took and made it thicker. First circle. You do the circle to get all the lines out of it, okay? And then you shape it to like a circle, but with one end tapering down a little bit. And then trying to make that into like a knee, whatever, something like that. And then that fits on like a leg, see? And then you just continue to go. Now for the hair, I'm making the hair on them. You flatten it out to the level of flatness that you want. And then you shape it out almost where it's like the back side will be, you know, like scooped, rounded scooped. Pretty much like this kind of a shape. That point taken off there. And then you take your tool or anything that you have that has a point on it and you draw the hairlines. You know, the waviness, if you want waviness, the straightness, whatever you want to do, all the way through the hair. And then you have a point that's your starting point, okay? That you see is the front focal point of it. There we go. This is actually too soft right now, but here you go. There's the hair, and then you would just wrap it around. Okay? For hair. So that's how you do the hair. And the bowl's super simple. I just shaped the bowls, this size bowl, around my thumb, but you can do it around a circular object if you want to. And then I use this flat point to trim it off. Okay. And then I shaped it from there and made bowls. I hope that was clear enough that you can see exactly what I did. I went kind of fast on that. But anyway, so that's how to make the shapes. I took that same mica powder and I put it all over their bodies with a paintbrush, just by rubbing it on there. And, you know, you can see for the most part it stays on. So it's, you know, that's what colored it. I did find out when I baked it, even the white, like this was, she was white clay. She turned kind of a tan color. You know, I don't know if you can see that on underneath. It still turned kind of a tan color through. But here's her backside. I tried to make her body like, you know, true to life. This little flat tool was really important. It really helped out a lot to take, and as you know, as you were finishing your product, to go around the edges and just do that little lift and help give her that roundedness around the bottom of her body, so she looked like she was really sitting there instead of just like part of the table. Okay, so that really helped out a lot. And you can see the hairline shape in the back, how I did that and where it came together. But there you go. And I added the bangs on top. That was a separate piece. So there's the goddess and the god. Same thing. When you're making him, though, for the body part, you make your circle. So there's no line in your clay. That's what smooths it out. And then, of course, you know, you start making your little triangle like that. And instead of doing the circle around the waist, do it from the bottom. Because men are narrow at the hips and wider at the top, okay? And so you just round it that way. And then, as it comes up, you can take and kind of push it down a little bit. See how it's now got almost like a chest, which is the 2 thumbs there as well. And you can put your pecs in there and then smooth that out a little bit. It doesn't have to stay so firm, but you know, you can work that through however you want to. I didn't leave the lines in there for that. But so there's the body part, and you do everything else the same way. And the horns were a little bit difficult because the clay is so soft. It was kind of hard to get it, the smaller pieces to stand up there. And for him, I gave him a 8-armed sun for all the sabbats. Okay, he has his offerings in there now. And this was Venus. This is Venus. And I made her having to do legs, so, you know, I just narrowed them down towards the bottom and then bent the feet up a little bit to give her some feet. That's pretty much her. Same thing on the bottom. I try to make her look realistic. Her hair is white and gold. Okay, so she has a little seashell I put in there and a seashell back here. So you can definitely incorporate other things in there, your offerings or whatever, into your statues as well. Something else you can do is add oils, like a drop. I would say, here I'll show you so you can see that it does hold consistency. Like if you're making your statue and you want to put your goddess oil in there, just go ahead and take a clay and a little drop of oil. And there you go. And now it is consecrated, okay, for that. And you've got a consecrated clay. So that's something else you can do too to make it more spiritual for yourself, and knowing that from, you know, right from formation up, it is perfectly made for your intention and your workings. Okay, I hope that helps to give you some ideas of how you can use the Sculpey clay to make your god and goddesses. I'm not sure how informative this is. If you did like it, please, you know, click like on this video and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. And I'll do some more crafting and other videos for you in the future. Blessed be.